And joining me is Benjamin Krawciw, who graduated from STEM School Highlands Ranch in 2019 and now goes to the Colorado School of Mines. Benjamin, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, we're bringing you in to talk about a very important topic, especially as it relates to seniors at STEM School Highlands Ranch who are getting ready to graduate and are going through the college application process, and really juniors too, who are going to be thinking about that and which schools they're going to attend. Because when you're about to graduate, typically you have a list of schools that are your primary choices. Those are the ones that you're going for. And we just wanted to hear your story, and maybe you could offer some advice to students about the college application process, because it can be stressful, it can be unpredictable, and in some cases you don't get your top choices, but it can still work out, because in your case it did work out, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The Colorado School of Mines wasn't my first choice. I applied to a lot of the Ivy schools. I thought the numbers were pretty good, so I figured I had a pretty good chance. And then I also applied to some of the programs that had specifically invited me, and also the Colorado School of Mines, which I know a lot of STEM students get that golden ticket application. Use that. So yeah, as far as advice regarding that, just put your application out in all sorts of places. There's, a lot of, maybe not necessarily randomness, but other people in admissions offices aren't necessarily thinking what you're thinking. And that's for better or for worse. It can knock you down a few pegs or it can lift you up. So just get your application out there. Don't limit yourself.
And you say that you graduated from STEM in 2019. Can you recall when you started putting the applications out?
Oh goodness. I've been sort of compiling the list and slowly getting things together for I don't know, probably the year prior. Mine's was one of the earliest ones because they invited me to do that application, and it was a shorter thing. And in general, if these programs invite you, it's going to be an easy application, and you'll probably get accepted, which feels great.
Now, you talked about how it worked out for you, because, of course, you made it into a great school right here in Colorado. So, were you initially disappointed at not getting those Ivy League schools that you were going for, or did you go into it with the understanding that it might not work out?
Well, I went into it with the understanding that it wouldn't work out, but I also I did some math. I have given these numbers, I have a probably 10% chance of making it into any individual one of these. So the probability that I won't make it into any, well, that's 90% to the eighth power. Oh, that's only a 10% chance. I don't need to worry about that. So I was surprised, but I also understood that I don't have a right to anyone else's education, and there's plenty of good work to do everywhere. So
Tell me,
it's not a loss.
tell me about your major and the profession that you're interested in getting into.
Oh, I am an engineering physics major, and I am loving it. As far as career, there are a couple different options. I'd like to do some kind of engineering consulting. That would be fun. And I'm definitely looking at grad school, so I could also see myself going into academia.
Now, how did you prioritize which schools you wanted versus ones that you didn't really want? Did you go down, did you produce a certain list in mind with your top priority, and then you just threw all of your effort at that one and then kind of went down the list from there?
So let's see. I had my list as far as just notoriety, and also read some things about what kinds of physics people were doing in different places. I looked at different rankings. Mine's ranked very high for engineering physics and for physics in general, which is interesting because mine's doesn't have a physics major. It just has the engineering physics major. So to think that the non-physics was great in physics was kind of fun. Anyway, so yeah, I looked at the rankings for the major. I knew I wanted to do physics. And no, I did not focus only on the top choice. I knew that the chances for any particular one were pretty low. So yeah, I didn't focus on one in particular. I did make sure to add a lot on the Common App. I figure if you can use one application for multiple colleges, that's very efficient. That's the way to go.
Now, did you happen to utilize any STEM resources for college planning when you were attending the school?
Yeah, I spoke with my advisor a few times. I had people look over some essays, and let's see. Um, I don't recall if I used Naviance for anything in particular, but I remember it had some interesting metrics that's worth looking into.
Did you feel pretty confident going into it with your GPA and the additional school involvement that typically goes into a college admission?
Yeah, GPA involvement, test scores, all that stuff. I felt pretty solid.
Did you find any surprises along the way, any hurdles that you didn't expect that you perhaps could give a heads up to for some students who are about to go through the process?
Um, Recommendations are a big deal. Get those organized as soon as possible. And if your school requires an interview, certainly take it. There were a few where, like, because of other things, I think my interviewer had trouble at one of the schools, and so that didn't happen, and it probably hurt the process. So, if an interview is possible, do what you can to make it happen,
And
and that takes scheduling.
what was your case? Did you have to go through an interview?
So there were two schools that I applied to that wanted an interview, and at one of them I was able to have an interview. It was great. It was fun. I learned a lot too, which was nice. The other one, the interviewer uh, was not able to do the interview, and so because of organizational issues, that just fell through. Not ideal.
Can you talk about some of the extracurricular activities that maybe you did at STEM that gave you a leg up in getting into a school like the Colorado School of Mines, where there's some extra things in addition to your GPA that you did to help that school take interest in you?
Let's see. The one in particular that I remember is TSA, Technology Student Association. That's a big deal. You basically work as an engineer in TSA. So for anything at mines, that's going to be huge. Um, Unfortunately, I don't remember anything else in particular. I'm sure I had my list together. That's one of my flaws in the application process is I don't keep a good track of the things I've done.
So you would say staying organized is a piece of advice that you would have?
Staying organized. Also, that there are people around you who often know what you've done better than you do. If you're the type of person that isn't always super confident in their work, you won't necessarily have the most high-minded idea of what to put on your list. So I don't know, of your parents, especially if they're the kind who like to keep your trophies and such and things, they'll know what goes on that list. I was sort of like, well, I've got the numbers. What else could I possibly need?
Now, from an academic perspective, how do you feel about STEM Schoolhounds Ranch and how it prepared you for what you're going through right now?
Oh, mine's just feels like STEM Part 2. It's more of the same, especially like the experience with lab reports and all of the projects we do at STEM greatly prepare you for mines. A lot of people come in with just a purely classroom background and they're not prepared for mines. Also, people who haven't written big reports, especially for labs. Our teachers at STEM do a great job requiring almost real scientific papers from their students. So, yeah, well prepared.
Yeah, they definitely get to step into that real world more so than many other schools, and certainly any schools that I attended back when I was going to high school. And they're even getting some opportunities that I didn't get in college until I was able to become an intern. Like today, for example, we had a group of students take part in the Visa Future Me project, where they were able to collaborate with executives from Visa on a mock project where they came up with an invention and had to go through the process of appeasing customers. And that's an example of something that I didn't get even during college, really.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of real world experience. Felt very well prepared from STEM.
Did you have any additional advice or any closing thoughts as we wrap up here for the students who are about to graduate?
Keep your options open. Just put yourself out there. That way you are best prepared to deal with whatever happens. And also, there's good work to do everywhere. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Benjamin, thank you for taking time to talk to us. Congratulations to your admittance to Colorado School of Mines, and I'm sure you'll be doing some amazing things coming out of that.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Thanks.